66 years, why haven't we fixed? Because clearly all of you know what the problem is. Why haven't we fixed this? Dr. Yao Graham.
Yes. You brought in a very important issue, which brings us into really the issue of politics,
yes,
leadership, policy choices.
That's right.
It's important to, whilst we are talking about we have not achieved as much as we could, to qualify that. Because this economy has grown exponentially since independence.
Yeah.
It's grown. Even though it remains a raw material commodity export dependent economy, it has grown. We are now a lower middle income country, although inequalities are widening in the country. But the economy has grown. It's become one of the things we do now is to show who is building a huge mansion, who owns some of the most expensive cars. It's become an industry, in this country. So there's a lot of wealth. And that, I think, is important because we need to remember that this model that we are saying is not ideal for Ghana. It's very ideal for some people.
So what model? What model is this?
This model that we are running, the model we just criticized, the economic model we just criticized, has expanded over the years. It's generating a lot of wealth. So some people are benefiting from this model. And that continued benefit is an alliance of domestic people and international firms. Let's go across. Who controls the financial sector in Ghana? Who, for example, annually syndicate loans to Cocoa Board? It's not Ghanaian banks. The financial sector is controlled by foreign firms. So economic surplus goes out. Cocoa Board, by and large, has handed a lot of its kind of a trading business to foreign firms. Cocoa, where the Cocoa Board used to be a source of domestic accumulation, it no longer is. Private firms, foreign firms are engaging in the domestic cocoa trade, almost back to what it was like the colonialism. Okay. Now we're talking about the mining sector. We have signed scandalous agreements. I've been involved in this work for many years. I mean, Balfour spoke about it. We could spend the evening talking about it. Whether it's oil, whether it's gas, whether it's hard rock minerals, they have vested interest in perpetuating this model, which is why the question of power is very important. When we talk about Ghana being poor, it is not a uniform poverty. This model is very beneficial for some people. To be able to transform it, there should be the coalition for transformation would run into challenges. Nkrumah, in 1963, American intelligence, when they were really getting fed up with Nkrumah, had a discussion about who would be good leaders, potential leaders, if Nkrumah was removed. This is 1963. One of the candidates they discussed as a potential candidate was one General Joseph Ankara. In 1966, Joseph Ankara was made chairman of the NLC when Nkrumah was overthrown by the CIA. Okay. Now, so this model, at the moment, just look at the way the world is playing out. This China, America has declared war on China. And there's a propaganda thing about how China is not good for anybody, even though China is the second biggest creditor to the United States. It's good for the US to borrow from China, but it's not good for the rest of us to do business with China. So they have vested interest, domestic and international. If you take the axis, for me, which worries me a lot now, is the axis between certain political sectors, foreign business, and key chiefs in this country. The agrarian transition in this country requires certain land policies. Unless those land policies, which require bringing the way certain chiefs have privatized communal lands to heal, you are not likely to get the agrarian transition, which creates wealth. One of the first things the Americans did when they got to Japan was to dispossess the samurai of their land and distribute land to smallholder farmers. They did the same. The same was done in Taiwan. Okay? So land reform which will be key to a certain kind of agricultural productivity, agrarian income upliftment, and so on, requires a confrontation, or at least being able to push the powerful in a certain direction. So when we talk about Ghana being poor, let's remember that there are people who benefit from this model. And the solution, whilst it's a policy, a set of policy choices, behind being able to implement those policy choices is a question of what is the elite consensus around change, and what political power is he able to mobilize. But we can't discuss this thing as a technicist issue. It's an issue of political economy.
Interesting.